Monday Health Minutes, sponsored by Valley Health.
I'm Melanie Schaefer. This is Valley Health Minutes. Did you know there are about 40 million Americans who are diabetic? About 8 million of those are undiagnosed. So today we're talking with Dr. Michael Amos about what we can watch for to keep ourselves healthy and know that there's possibly something going on. What are some signs you can look for that might clue you in you might have a diabetic issue?
Yes, so of course, some of the first things that we start to talk about are things that might seem somewhat mundane. Drinking more, eating more, and some fluctuation in your weight. All of these can be things that clue us in to say, there might be something else going on here. But in addition to that, there can be things that might be a little more worrisome for some people, such as just feeling run down, tired, or even having some blurry vision.
Clarify some of the more concerning symptoms that people might be watching for.
Well, it really would be the blurry vision. Headaches can occur, and then fatigue. You can see this with variations in the sugar, and it is something that would clue you in most. But overall, they are very subtle symptoms that sometimes can say you could be maybe developing diabetes.
And when you're talking about drinking more, how much more do people usually consume, like a market amount?
Yes, so generally people are recommended to do about 64 ounces a day. But we could see someone drinking a gallon or two of water a day, and that might be something they're just so thirsty that they can't be quenched.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, should we be checked for diabetes, and if so, how often?
Very true. It is a recommendation from the United States Preventative Task Force for anyone that's overweight or obese to be checked every 3 years. And there's various methods that your doctor could go through to check you for that. It could be an A1C, it could be just checking your sugar in the office, or a more formal glucose tolerance test, which is more time consuming compared to the others.
Okay, so you find out you do have a diabetic issue. What kind of treatments are available?
Oh my goodness, it's a wonderful time in the care of diabetes. The list is forever long, and they are as easy as taking a pill a day to a shot a week. And so it's very interesting to see what we have available on insulins as well as non-insulin options for folks that might not be ready to commit to that, which is sometimes seen as something for older folks or something for those that are really sick.
I know a lot of people don't want to do the shots too. They're worrisome about that. So there's a whole host of things that they can be using to treat their diabetes.
Oh yes. It is even to the point where some options that are available as shots are also available as pills. And so we have a lot of options for folks that might have a little bit of a phobia with needles to be able to still control their A1Cs and to get to goal in the long run.
Okay, so there's medicine, obviously, but there's also lifestyle can play a very big part in the treatment of diabetes. What kind of changes should people be thinking, okay, it's time?
Yes. So I usually talk with my patients a lot about a low carbohydrate diet. A lot of folks think that it's sugar, and that's somewhat true because sugar and carbohydrates kind of go hand in hand in the body. But carbohydrates are what I focus in on, and I usually say to my folks with diabetes, I want you to keep your carbohydrates in a day below about 100 grams. I find that that's a good balance to where people can still enjoy some of those, little treats that they want, but it also allows them time to really nail down that this is how much I need in a day.
That's good, because it gives a little wiggle room.
Yes.
A little wiggle room is always appreciated. What are some of the facts and what are some of the myths around diabetes?
So this is a little bit more broad. There's actually a myth that type 1 diabetes is more linked genetically than type 2 is. But the actual science behind it shows that type 2 diabetes runs more in families than type 1 diabetes.
That's interesting.
Very much. Other things that you might see as far as facts is that over the last 20 years, we've had double the amount of people that are diagnosed and living with diabetes than we did 20 years ago. So it has been a huge jump in prevalence here in the United States for us to continue to diagnose and treat diabetes.
So how do you make an appointment? You think, I might have some issues. How do you get confirmation of that and see a physician?
The best way is to reach out to your local physician. Of course, valleyhealth.org is a wonderful resource, and I would be happy to see anyone with diabetes, and I'm available at the Westmoreland office.
Okay, it's such a big issue for so many people. I mean, when you think possibly 40 million people, nearly 40 million are diabetic, and so many might not know it. A lot of good questions to be asked.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Amos.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here for Valley Health Minutes. We'll see you next week.